Hello, and welcome to The Listening Room, a spirituality podcast brought to you by SpiritSourceConnect.com. My name is Suzanne Goulet, and in each episode, I'll be speaking to you about new spirituality and how you can use it to improve your daily life. By offering you insights, tools, and techniques, you'll become more aware of your connection to a higher power and begin to accelerate your path to a life of greater joy, ease, and flow. Enjoy. Hello, everybody. This is Suzanne Goulet, and today we're going to be talking about space management. Because my goal really is to share whatever knowledge I might have that can assist people who are very spiritually oriented to be more effective in creating change in their own lives and therefore more effective in being a part of the change in the world that is going on right now. So although we are all spiritual beings and we all exist in the spiritual realms and we have big, beautiful souls, I know that we are here on Earth and we are managing time and space. And our effectiveness at being able to manage time and space is going to be directly linked to how effective we are with living a more joyful life, a more fulfilled life, and also being an inspiration and creating effective change in other people's lives as well. And don't we all want to be helpful to others, and we have dreams of doing that? It's really our hearts and souls' dream to be able to assist others. And before we can really get to that place, we want to have our own lives working really smoothly and really well. And what I want to do is share with you a lot of the education that I've gained over the years. And I did that in the first two shows regarding time management, and we'll review those a little bit before I go into part 3. So even though I know everyone who's listening already knows everything and they don't need to learn anything new, I always find it very inspiring to me to hear some things over again. And sometimes Spirit has this wonderful way of managing and coordinating events so that I am hearing the right message at exactly the right time that I need to hear it. And Spirit, I find, is very kind and compassionate and just gives me these gentle little reminders as to what is appropriate for me to be hearing right now, perhaps because of an activity that I'm going to be engaged in the next hour or two or day or two, and I've gotten the message exactly when I needed it. So if you haven't heard part 1 and part 2 after the show, go back and catch up on those. And really, don't be afraid when I am saying the word time management. It sounds like I'm going to be asking you to be really busy high achiever. And actually, it's kind of the opposite of that. It's getting you to manage your time in kind of quadrants that make you more effective during the time that you're dedicating to a certain activity, so that you're not thinking about 17 other things that you're doing, or you're not doing 17 other things that at the same time. You're sectioning things off so that you give them your entire focus and attention during the time that you are dedicating for that activity. And the first activity that I have you section off in your calendar is your playtime. And so don't be afraid of the word time management. Your play is the most important time that you have on this earth, and we put that in your calendar first. And everything else will fit around it, so that when it is time for your play, you actually are free in your mind to enjoy yourself because you know you've taken care of what you've needed to take care of in previous times in your schedule. And of course, with anything that I'm going to be talking about in my broadcast, I always encourage people to really be listening to their own inner guidance about what is right for them and what is not right for them. It is a wide range of people that will listen to this show. Not everything is going to be appropriate for everyone. I'm going to touch on some subjects. If it's not something that's relating to you, bear in mind it might be relating to somebody else. And when I'm doing the show, I'm always checking in with Spirit for the right messages to be giving to people who are in the audience. So at times, if you might feel like, wow, I think that was for me, it's likely it was. Okay, so let's get into the content of the show. We're going to go over the week 1 and week 2 of time management. So get out your paper and your pencil, and we're going to take some notes. In time management 1, I kind of touched upon the subject of that. I'm not going to go over it too much again because you do have the opportunity to download that week's broadcast for free. But essentially, it's the importance of sectioning off your time and putting your priorities at the front end of your schedule so that the things that are most important to you actually get done. All of us have a mental list of what we think we need to do, but when we actually put an hour aside to get that thing done and we put it in our calendar and we adhere to our calendar and we spend that hour doing that thing that's really important to us, I'm telling you, at the end of the day, you're going to feel like you got a lot done. And all you did was dedicate an hour to that thing that's really important to you. And then by the end of a week or 2 weeks, you will have dedicated 10 hours to the most important thing to you. Now you get to decide the most important thing for you to do. Perhaps for someone, they know the most important thing to do would be to pay attention to their health because they may be reaching a crisis level with their health, and some time and some energy needs to be focused on that. Your morning times are always your most powerful and your most effective. So I ask people to look at their calendar and, if you have a full-time job, it's going to go before that. If you're self-employed, the time from 9 to 11 a.m. should be spent on long-term priorities. The long-term priority of your health, the long-term priority for your business might be generating the leads, generating new clients, researching what's going to be done in the next 6 months of your business. What is the most important thing to you? And you chunk that into the first most vital hours of your day when you're really alert, you've had breakfast, you're inspired, your mental energy is clear, you're feeling creative, and you can really solve a lot of problems then. Okay, the rest of the broadcast will talk about other things that should go in your calendar, like your regular health workouts, time for your family, chunking out time for that, and then chunking out time also for yourself to do what brings you the most joy. Okay, part 2 of time management just went in the entirely opposite direction and explained the importance of doing absolutely nothing. And that making sure that you have time for that. No matter how busy you are, having the time for quiet contemplation is not just the time that you're going to de-stress or chill out or get to relax before sleep. Although the de-stressing will happen, it's time when you get to shut everything off and spend time in contemplation so that new inspiration can come in, new ideas, new communication from your spirit, from your soul, will be able to get through to you. And this is vitally important for the future success of whatever endeavor you're engaged in right now, so that if you can spend an hour doing nothing but quietly sitting and contemplating, staring out into nature. There is no music. There is no games on the background. You don't have your iPod on at this time. You're not sleeping. You're not watching TV. You're not hanging out with your friends and having some beers. You're not watching a game. You're literally having zero mental stimulation. I find staring out into nature, whether it's out my dining room windows or my office window or sitting out on the back porch and looking at the magnolia tree here or my rose bushes and spending an hour doing that allows a lot of my mental activities to kind of calm down. I ask myself to stop worrying about anything right now. I ask myself to stop thinking about problems that I'm trying to solve and just rest and breathe and listen to my breathing if I have to do that to calm down and allow the creativity of my mind to really get unleashed. So someone in the chat room asked me if that includes sunbathing. It absolutely does include sunbathing. In fact, that's the best place and time to do nothing. Here on the beaches of Charleston, it's really awesome, and I go every Sunday when it's the warmer weather and just sit in my chair and stare at those waves coming in and out. What I make sure that I'm not going to do is to be sitting next to a loud radio, sitting next to some people who are having a big party, although I really encourage having big parties, when my endeavor is to be contemplating and staring out at nature. I don't really want to have very much stimulation. And the ocean waves have this beautiful rhythm that are going to line up with your heartbeat, and you'll be completely in harmony and in balance with nature and your universe. And your mind will come to rest very beautifully. So that was last week's broadcast, which was all about the importance of doing nothing. And you're giving yourself the gift of planting seeds of creativity in your mind so that these seeds can blossom and grow into new chapters and new branches on the tree of your life. Okay, so now we're going to go into part 3, and it's called Clearing Space for Your Mind to Unfold. So this is part of managing your time, but we're kind of bridging into managing your space. And the reason for that is because all of this, both time and space, have direct effects on your brain waves and the way that your brain waves are being stimulated from the outside, both from your time, your activities, and what you are seeing or having in your physical space have huge effects on you in your subconscious and in your ability to think and to create. So I'm going to go now into a reading from Marie Diamond. She's a wonderfully gifted and intuitive Feng Shui master that I learned from, and I spent a good 6 months to a year, a little bit of time per day or a chunk of time per week, really following the concepts of Feng Shui. Now, it doesn't matter if you know anything about Feng Shui or not. It's really the science of energy in your home and how that affects your brain so that you can be more effective and feel greater balance within yourself, greater harmony in your life, and greater energy and peace and creativity. It's all good. And that's very, very hard to do when your time is filled with a lot of junk and your home space, your bedroom, your closets, your kitchen, your office are also filled with a lot of junk. It's really hard to feel good, and there's a specific scientific reason for that. So let me read to you from Marie Diamond. She's talking about brain waves here. At an energetic level, your home is a living, vibrating energy in a vast unified field of energy. Everything in a home influences the flow of active and passive energy, and this flow establishes waves of chi energy that act much like the brain waves produced by your own thinking process. Your life is the result of the ranges of brain waves you habitually create with your thoughts. Similarly, the results you experience in life are either stifled or enhanced by the brainwave energy fields established in your environment. The first two brainwave energy fields are beta and alpha frequency ranges. I got a couple of chat-ins on the chat room. Yes, once you get rid of the old, the new has room to enter your space. Thank you very much. We're going to be getting really into that. Okay, so we left off here with from Marie on the first two brainwave energy fields are beta and alpha frequency ranges. Beta frequencies reflect chaos. I'm going to say that word again. Chaos. Cluttered rooms with dingy walls, no coziness, or filled with depressing or violent images, dead flowers, and piles of paper. In this environment, you feel like a victim, without support, overwhelmed, or perhaps depressed. You feel like you are struggling uphill against the wind. In this state, it is very difficult or impossible to create what you want. The moment you start to create new space by decluttering and cleaning up, and bringing in colors and uplifting images, you will start getting out of the beta energy waves and begin moving into the alpha brain waves. As a result, you attract more of the tremendous power available to you, which flows in as good fortune in your career, your relationships, your health, and your spiritual growth. You feel more empowered. So, thank you, Marie Diamond, for writing that. And I totally believe it. I knew this on an instinctive level, and I'm someone that always has a bag or a box in a closet gathering things that are going to be going out to the charity. It's similar to Goodwill, but it's called the National Children's Cancer Society, and everything I donate there gets sold in the store, and the money goes to assist children with cancer. So when I am going around my house, I always this is going in the bag, this is going in the bag. And every couple of weeks, there's a trip. I fit it in with the rest of my errands, and there we go. So let's talk about some practical steps to doing this for yourself. I'm going to be taking you through some questions that you can ask yourself in your life. We're going to break it down to various areas of your life. For many people, this can seem really, really daunting. They walk into a room, perhaps, that's filled to the gills. And of course, it's depressing. Of course, it makes you feel bad. Your brain waves just fell down to beta. You can't kick yourself by walking into the room and saying, oh, crap, I've got to clear all this stuff out. And what am I going to do? I don't feel like doing this. I'm going shopping. It's totally natural. It's totally natural that you're going to feel depressed when you walk in and see a lot of junk. But here's a good plan. Just make an appointment with yourself. Pick a day, and you're going to do 2 hours. Pick a Saturday. Pick a Wednesday night. If you have a friend who's in a similar situation and they have something that they want to clear out too, perhaps they've got a file cabinet to clear out. Perhaps they've got a garage to clear out. What you can arrange is for each other to swap. And don't set out a plan that you're going to get this all done in the 2 hours. You're just going to tackle one little piece. You're going to decide what's going to happen to those 3 boxes. That's all you're going to do. And you're going to do little by little. When you start getting tired, when you start feeling overwhelmed, it's time to stop. Whatever your space looks like, some of you can have a gorgeously organized space. But is it really reflecting who you are right now? Or are you looking at pictures of your ancestry in old dusty frames and photographs? Kiss your ancestors and say, I love you very much, but I'm going to love you from a soul level. And find some people in your family who would love to have these pictures. You could have nieces or nephews or someone down in the generation that would be so honored to have some things from the family treasures, the family past. But if you've enjoyed it for a few years and it's not bringing you joy anymore, it's kind of like, you're seeing the same thing over and over. It's not stimulating. You want to be looking around your house and say, wow, this place is awesome and I love it. And any little piece does not make you feel that way, ask yourself, where can it go? This is Suzanne, and I want to thank you for listening. To listen to part 2 in this series, please proceed to the next episode. Thank you.